Welcome to What's Important to You, a podcast about purpose, passion, and the things that truly matter. I'm James Dean, life coach and host, and each week I sit down with inspiring guests from all walks of life and ask one powerful question: what's important to you? Their stories will spark reflection, fuel your goals, and remind you what really matters, so you can move forward with clarity and momentum. Today's guest is a powerhouse of purpose and perseverance. She has spent over 25 years transforming lives through supported housing, social enterprise, and community leadership, from pioneering employment initiatives for those often overlooked to growing a single homeless shelter into a network of 84 bed spaces across London. Her impact speaks volumes. Driven by faith, resilience, and a fierce determination to turn challenge into change, she's the kind of leader who rolls up her sleeves and gets things done, quietly, powerfully, and with heart. Today, we find out what's important to Christina Isaac. Hi, Christina. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, I'm glad to be here too.
Yeah, really looking forward to chatting to you. So we're going to dive straight in, which is the first question, Christina, which is what's important to you?
I hadn't thought about that question till you kind of asked me. I think I live and work in Newham, and Newham is a place where unemployment is the highest, homelessness is the highest, and issues relating to poverty is wide and varied. And I think what is really important for me is to make a difference to this in what little way I am able to. And another way of putting it is it's about hope. It's about lighting a candle of hope in the hearts of someone who's either given up on it, or who feels that he has none. So that is what it's about. What can you do to empower yourself, and what can you do to get out of the real difficulty that you are in? So in a nutshell, that's what I try to do.
That's amazing. It's a really beautiful way of putting it, in the sense when it comes to sort of hope. So looking a little bit at what you do in the background, I'd love to know more in a sense of, because you've been doing this sort of work in charity for a number of years now in different guises. So what was it? Is that something that was always there in yourself, wanting to get involved in charity?
Well, I can't say it was always there, or it was ever my hope of, or it was ever my dream of doing this. So I stumbled across it because I had my son and I wanted a job that was local till my child grew up and was ready for nursery. And I really, really got addicted to it. So, like I said, Newham was a place, or continues to be a place where homelessness is the highest, and also unemployment. So I ended up with this charity, which was just starting at the time, by someone called Peter Watherston, who's also someone who's influenced me a lot, me enough to stay here 27 years later. And what he was saying was, in this area, people were coming up to 3 generations, or the third generations, where a family, not a single member in the family had ever been in employment. So the children are growing up seeing up to their grandparents never being in employment. So, getting an education or being in employment is just simply a completely alien idea to them. So the base of the charity was that. How do you do this? So people go from one training to the other, but never really getting anywhere with it, because when you really want to get a job, they ask you, what is your real-time experience? And without experience, you don't get a job. So people are like, why do we bother? And in those days, at least 25 years ago, council accommodation was prevalent, and your ambition in life was to get into, or that was your dream, to get into council accommodation. Then you are on benefits, and benefits were pretty high in those days, and then you cruise. So it was about standing against it. It was about setting up businesses where people could learn a skill, facing real-time commercial pressures that relates to a job, but yet supported enough to, because these guys don't have a lot of skills, to be supported enough to take into account where they are as an individual. So that's where we started. And then homelessness is also another other place, because if you don't have a place to stay, home and work is hugely interlinked. So then we came up with the idea of having hostels for youngsters, or people who are longer term unemployed, to stay in a place and have the work started as well. So we set up and managed a wide variety of social enterprises, from, believe me or not, a garment manufacturing unit. And the last production that unit did was make some equipments, make some units for the 2012 Olympics. And it was given away to one of the guys who ran it. This production was going to the Far East, and it was no longer profitable to run a social enterprise, because the overheads are high, because you need, you are training people, and so there'll be mistakes. You need more training. And when you have got a person up and running, you effectively want them to move on, and you're starting with a fresh crop. So we did that. We did a catalog distribution company. We've done furniture recycling. We've done hard plastic recycling, a lot of them. So in 2010, 2012, when the recession was hitting, that was hit us quite badly for various reasons. So we had to close our social enterprises. So only one that I have still running is a small cafe. But it still does wonders. That we've focused on housing since, that is providing housing for people. So so what we do is we have housing and we have support, towards helping people upskill themselves, and also helping people gain life skills. So it's like a three-pronged approach. How do you, most of the people that we work with are never going to afford, or in the next recent future, or the next future, being able to afford their own flat or their own house, but will be living in a shared accommodation. So what are the skills that you need to live in a shared accommodation? Can you make your own bed? Can you use a vacuum cleaner? Do you know how to use a microwave? You won't believe it. I have people coming in saying that, oh, I've never made a cup of tea in my life. And you just think, wow.
Yeah. So it's taking people from any whatever level they're at, in a sense of, just as you say, their life skills, to try and enable them to then live independently as well, and live in some, as you say, live in somewhere. And as you said there, like the fact that you've been doing, it's interesting that you say you stumbled into this sort of industry in some ways, for a better word, but you've stayed there for over 25 years. So what is it that's kept you in that industry?
See, the impact that you can have on someone's life, that is humbling. That really is humbling. The thing that you can do a small thing. I earn a wage, so I can look after myself. So, there is this concept that charity world is all about, giving everything for free. Yes, a lot of people give their time and money and things for free, but there is also this other option where you can earn a decent living, and as your day job, you are helping people. And I think that is really cool. In the private sector, I'd probably be working as hard as I do, but I would probably be helping to make someone else rich. Whereas here, I am helping whoever our clients are, to put hope in. I really don't believe that you can actually help someone to do something. I think what you can do is enable someone to believe in themselves, to do something for themselves. This, whatever you give for free for someone somehow doesn't have the value. But whereas if you can, put that into their hearts that, come on, I am here with you. If you don't believe in yourself, I'm here to believe in you till you believe in yourself. And then
Yeah.
they start feeling that, yes, I can do something. That's when you will get a result. I
Yeah.
can give someone a fantastic house, but you will see that how many people can't maintain a house. It's only if you want a house and if you want to maintain a house, will you be, responsible enough to think, okay, what does it take
Mm. Yeah.
for
No,
me to?
absolutely.
It's very much about putting that thing into the individual.
Yes.
It's not about helping; it's about enabling.
Yeah, no, I love that, and it's because if well, from what you're saying as well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's enabling and then it's sort of empowering them
Yes.
to, as you say, because you're saying about believing them, because it is that thing of, as you say, in some ways, the story where people come into you in a sense of their potentially their life skills to the point where you think, well, they don't know how to make a cup of tea or use a microwave, and you could kind of look at it initially with a bit of shock or surprise or whatever, but then it's like looking at it then from an empathetic perspective and going, well, actually, because you say this is a generational thing as well, in the sense of
Mm.
just life happening versus them doing it as such or living it, you can really elevate them if you really work with them.
So the demography has changed since 25 years ago when I
Yeah.
started. It was we are in the heart of the East End with all the poor people in the East End. That was what it was. But now it is the ends of the world coming to Newham. So it's a lot of immigrants, and Newham is a place where you've got the highest rate of immigration in the whole of UK and probably in the whole world. So you're dealing with people from diverse backgrounds, and you're also now coming up with second or third generation Asian and also African background, where there is this protection for the male child that he's not allowed to do anything, and this women does everything. And then by the time they get to 25, 30, even the mothers, the family gets fed up because they have been brought up with no life skills. Because it's almost comic, because the parents really believed or that this was a way to bring your child up. But then you are in the surroundings where, if someone can't make your own tea, how are you supposed to live? And that realization comes a
Yeah.
bit too late, and
Yeah.
you haven't done it when you're supposed to have done it. But then, and there's also the other question of homelessness. When
Mm.
you think about homelessness, what is a picture that comes to your mind? It's a picture of someone maybe sitting in a street corner, pretty badly dressed, bad hygiene, probably stinking heavily of either body odor, or it's alcohol, or it's drugs, and he is begging, probably a pile of his belongings next to you. That is what you see, and that is, even for me, when I talk about this homelessness, that is what comes to your mind. But let's just step back a minute and take an average person. If someone loses his job,
Mm.
how many months do you think can a person survive before he faces homelessness and the threat of homelessness? Most people have a family to feed and a mortgage to pay. How many months would the mortgage company agree to
Mm.
before you're
Yeah.
facing the
Out.
threat of it?
Yeah.
Is that a question any of us thinks? We take it for granted. Our jobs is there and it's going to happen. But there are people where, something happens and they lose their job. And then what? And another thing that, in this is society is, you have a breakdown of a relationship. So suddenly the place you called home is not home anymore. You don't have probably the especially in the case of men, you probably don't have the the life skills to keep a house going, even if you have the finances to keep one going, and maybe not financial disciplines to keep going. And within 6 months, someone,
Yeah.
because you don't have a place to stay and you're not nicely dressed and whatever, and you can't go to work, you end up losing your job, and then you're on the street. Have you? Another question is, why is it that usually a homeless person is drunk or on alcohol? You think, oh, he chooses to do that. But is that really the case? is it also possible that they may be drinking or be on high on drugs because the shock of what life was and what life is now? How do you integrate it? There's no one to help. It is trying to suppress those emotions, and we are all into complaining whether when it's either too hot or too cold, and all our rooms are all so nicely regulated. How does a person tackle the elements on the street? These are the tools that are available to them, being high on alcohol or drugs, and before you know it, it's an addiction, it's a habit. So how do you come out of it? It's a downward spiral. You go down. It's the things that we think is things that they are doing as a choice didn't start as a choice. And when it's an addiction, then maybe you can say that it's a choice, but is it really a choice?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you provide an alternative to these people?
Yeah. And so I'm interested then in sense of, because it is in a sense of we come up with those assumptions regarding these people.
Yeah.
And I think then because it then it makes us, I don't know, from the people who aren't in that situation, it can make it easier for you to ignore because
and
it's
be
like
judgmental.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And put yourself, well, I'm not like that. That cliche of it couldn't or it wouldn't happen to me, but as you say, how easily it can happen. How do you, in the sense of what you do in the charity, how do you try and enable those people to come back up out of that spiral?
So in London, there are many people doing this. So I'm in no way taking credit for the whole of it. So it's really important for me that the homes that they come into feels like a home and not institutionalized. So we have domestic carpets and really, really try and buy them the very best that money can afford for us. So when they come in, this is as an environmental change.
Yes.
So it feels like a nice home to be in. It has little gardens.
Yeah.
May not be the best, but it's a green space and it's nice. The sofas are nice. Everyone gets a single room that is for themselves, and then you also have a community living space, so which is shared use of everything that you have. And so when a person comes, so we have a standard kit that we give out to everyone, and we also have like a little bit more, depending upon where the person are coming from, a higher grade or various higher versions of kits that you can give them. So we make sure that everybody gets a new duvet cover, pillowcases, and we don't put it out. We kind of put it in the case for them, so they feel that it is new and it's for them. And then we have a set of your dinner plates, cutlery, a new mug, a bowl for cereal, things like that. So that is like a standard kit that everybody gets. And also the washing machine is free, the dryer is free, and use of soap pods. So we allow everyone 2 washings free. We give them that. So when they come into the room, you have all of this. But suppose someone has just literally come off the street. We have a higher version of kit here. A shower gel, deodorant, shaving kit, towels. And every time some shop is going on sale, our staff will be, okay, this is on sale, so get 6 jogging bottoms, various size, just t-shirts, sweatshirts, things like that. So we have a supply of them. So before they even sit down, you go and have a shower. And so there is a physical change to them. They feel that something has changed. So they have something new, something to come out of it and physically feel that. And other thing that we do, I think is pretty unique for what we do, is we have a chef who comes in and cooks a hot meal for them every single day. So what that means is, see, if there's a hot meal on the table and you have that, the chances of you wanting to go and smoke or drink alcohol dramatically dramatically dropped. We don't work with people who are entrenched and who have current drug and alcohol, like entrenched
Yeah.
as like an addiction, because we are low support hostels, and I don't
Yeah.
have the funding or anything to do that. So it kind of changes things a little bit fast,
Yeah.
and so that is what we do, like on physical terms, without actually
Yeah.
doing anything to a person. But say warmth and food are two basic needs.
Yeah.
Places here basic. So those things are met without any talking done. And
Yes.
once a person is settled in, then we have a support worker working with them. And I'm also pretty strict on things. We have very strict house rules. Only come to us if you have a serious commitment of making a change to your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you leave, I expect you to leave the room in as good a condition as you left it, because it is there. It should be there for the next person. How did you feel when you got this? So there's many standing out there coming in. And then the other thing we do is everyone is required to spend 2 hours a week doing some tasks in the house. So this can be vacuum cleaning the house. We are not funded by the government or
Yeah.
to do any of this. So, and it can be washing the toilets, it can be cleaning the garden, can be assisting the chef to go and do shopping, a variety of things like that. But what it does is you learn life skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the chefs, the afternoon team, will work with them to show that you don't need a number of microwaves that gets blown because you put
something metal in or something.
Yeah, and then yesterday it was a whole egg someone tried to boil in a microwave. That talking someone through all of this, so you're learning a whole lot of things in the process. So another question people ask us is, if you don't let people cook for themselves, how do they ever learn to cook? So, we really have wonderful chefs. I have 7 of them. So,
Wow.
In the afternoon, in the moment they come up, all of them gather around. Oh, I come from here. Can I cook this? And the chef is like, okay, what are the ingredients? They take turns, and I'm from here. I want to cook this. So, but you cannot cook for them yourself, but you cook for the entire house.
Yes.
Introduce something. So cultures mix, you get a family feeling.
Yeah, sure.
Feeling going. So we have 10 houses. So they're like small houses. So there's a family feel, there's a community feel. And if someone gets a job, we celebrate it. So other person feels that, oh, he's not much better than me. If he can get a job, if he can get into that, so can I. And people are reluctant to admit that they have problems with reading and writing and numeracy and literacy. But if someone else is like, oh, I'm going here for doing that, then the other person is like, hey, if he is brave enough to admit he has a problem with that, why not me? And then ESOL classes, a lot of people come from abroad and you can't use the language. And if you can't use the language, how on earth are you integrating with the community? So it becomes easier when there is a nice feel in the house. And then, of course, when you put various people together, you have arguments and you have everything that goes with it. And I'm quite mean in such situations. So I ask people very clearly, do you have anywhere better to go? If you have, please go. Yeah. And every single person here is here because they don't have a place to go, and they have had pretty bad experiences of some sort. You may not know what his past is. And you don't need to know either. But one thing is assured, the only reason why he's here is because he had some things that had happened to him that made life so difficult that he has no home, no family to go to, and he's here with us. So you do not this is supposed to be a safe haven where you make positive stuff. You are not allowed to make this into a hellhole. That's not why I'm spitting blood to keep this place going. That is not why my team is here trying very hard. I'm sure some of us can go out into the private sector and make millions for other people and also make millions for ourselves. But we are here committed. So you be respectful. So we have that very frank conversation Yeah. And some
Yeah.
people don't like the rules. And I say, fine, you don't like the rules, but these rules are to fit a wide variety of people that comes through.
Mm. But
Maybe you're responsible and this doesn't work for you. But
yeah.
I can't make rules to fit each person. But if you, this place has a rule, but if you go somewhere else, that place will have a different set of rules.
Yeah.
How do you escape the rules? The best way is to find yourself a job, move into your own place, then there are no rules.
But it's interesting though, because that sort of having those sort of rules in place for being in the home is, again, it's a life skill to understand that there are rules to society. There are rules to if you want to get in employment, there will be rules within that employment. The expectation of time management, the expectation of the level of work you do. You know what I mean? So those rules, it's being able to learn and adhere and follow those rules is again a skill that you will need if you want to be able to.
And take this chat itself. Don't you have to follow rules?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to just pick up a person and say there's GDPR, there's so many things.
Yeah.
So what is the concept of freedom? It is free within a boundary.
Yes.
And that concept is alien to a lot of people.
Yes.
You're free to drive to Scotland or wherever else you want to, as long as you drive on the left-hand side of the road. You follow the traffic rules. You don't speed.
Yeah, exactly.
And it applies in all phases of life.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm interested then, because you said you obviously the social enterprising stuff that you say it's kind of reduced now when you're very much focusing on the homelessness.
Yeah.
So in relation to then those people that they're going through the houses, and you said they had the support stuff, is there still then the support to try and then get them employment as well then and move them on?
Most definitely. So we have two kinds of needs assessment. So one needs assessment is, especially after COVID, a lot of things have become digitalized and it's on line and things like that. So especially for the older generation, can you access your universal credit on your phone? Can you check your journals? Things like that. So so there's a lot of things which it's simple things, like the answer is either yes or no. So have you got a banking app? It's yes or no. Have you got a debit card? It is yes or no. So it's fairly straightforward to deal with. So we do a needs assessment on a variety of things that we believe that makes a difference to like daily life. Have you got an NHS app so you can book a GP appointment online without having to go and stand in a queue or on the phone? So little things like that. So we have a long list of that. So for every client, we try and turn that from a no to yes. Some of them will have quite a lot of them. Some of them won't have a bank account. So then we'll start a bank account and support them to do a banking app, use of a credit card, things like that. So, and those kind of things, especially relevant for the older people. A lot of them older people have relations abroad and they want to keep in touch. WhatsApp is a simple thing they can have. This is small things that make huge impact to daily life. Yeah. So you go through that. And then there's another needs assessment that you do. Like you think, what did you do before this? What do you think are your skills in this area? What do you think we can do to support you to move on? So that is about, okay, I'd like to be a security guard, or I want to go into the building industry. So getting qualified in there, what specific area, and working towards that. So that is a slightly different tone of things. So people think that okay, they go to jobs and then get a CV done, and then they just send the CV to everyone. So it's like, no, if you're applying for a retail job, you have to focus on that. So getting them to understand what is the employer looking.
Yes.
So things like that about timekeeping, stuff like that. And then registering onto the council's portal to say, because a lot of people have the myth that, they're all going to get a council flat somehow and life is going to be happily ever after. So we register everyone and once they've registered and they get the bidding number, they see that, oh, my chances, my bidding down the line is 14,000 and something. And that's when the reality clicks that 14,000 people ahead of me. When am I going to get my chance to bid? So
Yeah.
then that reality kicks in, that maybe if I got myself a job, I have a much better chance of having my own space. But
Yeah.
it's doing those reality checks with people, and then it's very much relating to what
Yeah.
the person is, because next door someone was saying that I want to get driving license here because I was a cab driver wherever he came from, and all he needs is a driving license, and maybe he can do Uber. So that
Yeah.
conversation is having in the next room. So that
Yeah.
is very much relating to where the person wants to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it is also about how can you support a person to get into employment. So we've just collected a whole lot of websites for private rented accommodation. So we go through them with them and help them create logins and see what is it that you're getting for your money, how much money do you actually need, reality checks for these things. And
Yeah.
what is a furnished accommodation like, what's an unfurnished accommodation like, where do you think you can get additional stuff to furnish it, because they come with this dream idea that somehow council is going to give them a fully furnished flat, and all they have to do is just move from here to there, and then life is happily ever after. And it used to be maybe 30 or 35 years ago, but that's not the case anymore. So it's about giving them a reality check and
Yeah.
kind of suggesting, hey, the way you're thinking, that's where it's going, but is there an alternative?
Yes.
Can you do
Yes.
something for yourself? We will support you if you are willing to do something for yourself.
Yeah.
But if you don't engage with us, then you have maybe 5 chances of non-engagement. Then we say, you're not engaging with ourselves. We are committed to this. So
Yeah.
please move on.
Yeah. No, I think it's really interesting to hear what you're saying, Stina, because it's like I've not I've not worked in the charity industry, and so I've seen it very much from an external perspective, and I've done various things to raise money for charity over the years and things like that, different ones, and I've done like runs and things like that. But it's interesting to hear from you, like literally on the ground, in the sense of the level of detail and the level of work that you go into to take. And it's interesting because it's like, as you say, the word there sometimes, it's the reality check. It's in the minutia of what you have to do for these people and help these people, and that's sort of like, that's when you think about where the horrible word of where the money goes, if you know what I mean. It's getting into this specifics with these people of like, how do you take those steps forward to the point where the stuff that we may take for granted that we use day to day, like WhatsApp or whatever, that it's really that back to basics of building blocks to build them up. So when you say you have 5 sort of engagement opportunities, is that over a length of time, or is it, how do you work?
You see, if I make an appointment, or my clients when his staff make appointments with clients, suppose you don't turn up for the meeting and they do not give a reason for it. If you do that 5 times, so our properties are no smoking areas, anything relating to fire related hazards, we tell them right at the beginning, there's no exceptions. If you smoke in your room, if you put a sock over the smoke detector and it's been noticed, you're out. I'm not going to give you another chance, because there are other people living in this premises who want to get on with your life. There are designated smoking areas, you go and smoke there. So there are some which we don't negotiate on, because we tell them right in the beginning, these are things we cannot negotiate on, because you're putting somebody else at risk. So we have a condition of residence which we go through where on the point of admission. And then if someone is coming off the street, he's likely to say yes to everything, so you can get a place. So the first support meeting that they have, whenever we feel that person is ready to, we go over the whole thing all over again. And for each thing, we say, what is the reason for why we have it? Or why can't I cook myself? It's because I don't have a license from the government to allow you to cook yourself. So how much I would like you to cook yourself, I can't do that, because I don't, under my license, this is a license I have. So
Yeah.
I have to. So these are laws I'm trying to operate
Yeah.
in. So those kind of understanding. So we spend a good 1.5 to 2 hours going through
Yeah.
all those things with them, and then the afternoon team will literally take them through, okay, you know how to use a washing machine, people who put fairy liquid in the washing machine, bubble the whole area up. So now we tell them that, if you want an extra washing pod and you haven't, 2 pods are free every week, and sometimes, if you go and ask nicely, you'll get one. But if you decide to wash, every single day, there's also the question of, we first wash, observe. The first reaction is, oh, he's taking the washing machine for granted and he's washing every day. It could also be that he hasn't got extra clothes.
Yes. Yeah.
So we do that check to say, is it because you don't have extra clothes you're washing every day, or is it simply because you're taking it for granted? It can be either way. So if it's taken for granted, we say, okay, if you want to wash every day and that's how you want to do stuff, you have to do your own thing. But if we notice it's because you haven't got to change of clothes, so my staff are now trained to look at these things. Are they wearing the same clothes all the time? Because some people are too proud to say it.
Yes.
So we always keep some gift cards, clothing gift cards, and all the things. So moment as support staff uses it, they will log to say that I have used it for such a client, so they can go and get themselves something. We never give cash out because you never know what they're using it for.
Sure, of course.
It's always gift cards, or we buy it for them by going out, and we don't have, before that, when we had the time and resources, we used to take someone shopping, but now it's so busy, and time is effectively money. So it's about how far you can reach in what little time you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said earlier, obviously, that the what you do isn't, you don't get any government funding for what you do with the houses. So is it all done through fundraising? Support?
No. That's so. Homelessness is a big problem all over London. So local councils commission projects. So what you mean by commissioning is, so you take a project like ours and you say that you will get housing benefits for it, and because we do housing management, you get enhanced housing benefits. So it's a little bit over the local area allowance, and then the government will pay for the support hours that you spend. So this client group needs 5 hours of support per week, or 10 hours, or something like that, and the government will fund that. So what I'm saying is, I don't have that. So we get the housing benefit part of it, but I don't get that. So one of the founder trustees give us some money so I can tick the box to do it. The rest of it is literally done with a group of people who are passionate about it. And just like our clients have to feel that they can empower someone and believe in that. So I also need a team of people who will believe that they can make a difference. So I'm very, very blessed and fortunate to have that. So when I recruit people, I look at the heart. Are the values that we stand for, is there that commitment? Because this is not a job you can do 9 to 5 and go home. Because 90% of the time you think, is this person worth my time? Because they push you back. They say no because they've been in that state of homelessness. And if you think about it, especially people who have been in the refuge, I'm not blanketing, but I'm just saying the realities of stuff. They got here because they've been creative about their stories. They have lied here and lied there and various things. And to treat that with kindness, that person has simply been trying to survive. Don't take this judgmental attitude, oh, he lied to me. He's probably afraid to tell you the truth. He hasn't had the good experience of trust being kept. So weeding through all of that and getting into what does that person really want, and getting that person to tell you what you want. And so it's only when you have an honest conversation will anything good come out of it. So every time you're put off because someone lied to you,
Yeah.
You're in the wrong game. And I
Yes.
tell at the interview, I tell them the people will think something, say something, and do something else. You have to be prepared for 3 versions of it if
Yeah.
you have to survive in this law. Not to be affected, but to be persistent, to get into a constructive state of working with them. So that is the
Yeah.
reality of the game. And that's not because they are bad people. That's because that is their life experience. They ever told anyone the whole truth and the full truth, maybe they would have been packed up and sent somewhere back. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think and it's, you say the big thing there is like, from your, if I'm hearing right, you're trying to manage the situation where they're in now. It's not about judgmental of where they came from before. It's like they've turned up at your door. If they engage with you in the way that you set it up, then you're going to do as best as you can to enable them to move forward. So but as you say, though, it's the people that you work, the people who are working for you and working with them, have got to sort of understand that it takes time. It's like, it's not going to be, so I suppose you got people coming in very sort of, you want people to say come in with the heart, but there's also the people that you're working with or working for you as such, they have to have that reality check themselves of, when working in the sector of charity, thinking, oh, this is going to be, I'm sure it is wonderfully empowering, wonderfully having that impact, but there's also a reality check of, I'm sure, just wanting to scream at the same time as well, because you're trying to help people, but people are that's their experience, isn't it?
Yeah. And so we have joint screens as well.
Yeah.
How can this is a meeting that we had taken someone for something. We prepped them. We told them, these are your avenues in them, and they just completely blew it. How many hours of work is this? That's reality.
Yes, exactly. No, absolutely. No, fascinating. So I just wanted to be 100% clear in a sense. So you said you get some of the funding for the charities from sort of the council and stuff. So is that, and then you have some from, in a sense, for trustees. Is that it? You don't do any sort of donations or anything like that?
Not generally, because I run it like a social enterprise. So like our occupancy rate is 99% plus, and we are really efficient. And my bad debt is under £2,000 a year for a turnover of 2 million. I think that is so we are very, very efficient with what to do. See, I am not against grant funding at all. It's wonderful to have grants, but I don't want to do that for revenue funding, because see, what is it about homelessness? It is the uncertainty of it. So if my staff, I am giving them like a 3-year contract or 2-year contract. They're constantly looking ahead. My contract is going to end at the end of 3 years. Where is my next money coming from?
Yes.
So that same pressures. So if the staff are insecure, how am I? I need a secure staff team. I need a staff team that feels that they don't have these issues, but they can take on the issues of these other people. So as a principal, I try my level best not to take grants for revenue funding, but I'm all for taking grants for one-off stuff. And the only reason why I don't do it anymore is now I run the place. So when I used to be finance director, so I used to raise nearly $1 million a year because I had the time to.
Sure.
So now I don't have the time to. The plastic recycling, we raised $750,000 to set it up. How much does a JCB cost? How much does the machines that crush the cars? I've forgotten what on earth that was called. So we had one of those that was £190,000 to buy secondhand refurbished. So so at that time I had time, so we do it.
Yes.
But the one thing we do now is for Christmas. So we really celebrate Christmas. So we do hampers, proper meaningful hampers, like one hamper between 80 to 100 pounds per head. So it's not a half hamper that kind
Yeah.
of feels like it's a hamburger given for Christmas, but it has nice things, and it's Christmas is one time that we fundraise for. And I haven't mentioned that I also work with women with no recourse to public funds. So they are women who've been brought into this country for many reasons, mostly on scam marriages. And once they're here, the husbands will not renew their visas to permanent stay, but keep them in the with an expired visa, so they are easier to control, and maybe used as domestic slaves, sex trade, and then domestic violence, and all of these. So we get a lot of moms straight from hospitals through social services. So they usually come with a baby, and a lot of them come with something in one Tesco bag. So when they come in, just have a bunch of flowers just to feel that someone thought about me, a pair of slippers, a bathrobe, and then especially when a baby is born in our house, like the mothers come here pregnant, I don't want the first set of clothes to be second-hand clothes, and I don't want the Moses basket to be a second-hand one. Some little things you like to do as new for them, to feel that this is somehow a new start. And then the kids that come to us, some of them are here for about 4 hours, 4 years till we manage to settle their status. So last year we had 4 kids go to nursery for the first time so it's before the 4th nursery. So it was so lovely, because I was like, I'm not sending these kids to school with secondhand clothes, buying them all their little uniforms and their school bags, and just things like that. It'd be amazing. We just work so hard. We don't have time for this. So Christmas we do a little staff video, and we circulate it, and we get about £5,000 to £7,000 from friends, and that is the only general fundraising. And it'd be wonderful to have a bit more of that, to do these kind of stuff. To have shaving kits and summer clothes for the guys who come in, because those have, I don't know, it has a psychological value. On top of the money value. And I have to be careful in what I use what for, because the housing benefits you get from the thing is for specific things, and you have to show your expenses to say. So I can't just take a chunk out of that and
of course,
and do other things. So yes, would be nice to do funding, and we are trying to grow our team and get there with it. And yes, when I have time, I do small fundraising.
No, I mean, it just, the reason I was just asking that is like, because for effectively the service of a better word that you're providing for these people, it sounds, as you say, like it's incredible what you're able to do with the sense the money that you have available to do what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? To the level and the detail that you're trying to provide these people. Is it no, this is maybe is an interesting question, I don't know. Is it the focus on, because it's like you've got, as you said 10 houses, is it?
Yes,
and so
84 bed spaces and
94.
About 15 children. 84 bed spaces, and we take about 15 children.
Okay, so it's because, as you say, it's obviously the size of London, the size of the homelessness crisis, and that is over there, and I'm in Ireland, and it's similar over here, but it's the way from what you've described. It's trying to do the very best for the amount of people that you're able to serve. Do you know what I mean? So you've got the facilities that will enable you to look after those 80 or so people.
We get about 10 times the number of applications and we can cope with. So the problem is much, much wider, and there are other providers who have a different focus and do things slightly differently, and everybody's service is so valid and needed.
Yeah, but it's amazing, but then also, the fact that, so when you were saying with those children, they were there since they were born, and they the length of time.
3-4 years. So I'll tell you two stories. So this is when I first started. So I was too scared to even tell my husband. I was okay. How we started the housing work was Peter, my boss. He one day came and said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. This charity that I work for, or I'm a trustee of, is deciding to close because they can't just make things work." So we're like, "Oh, why don't we take it on and run it for a year to see if it works or not?" So that's how we got into housing. So we started with 9 bed spaces in one house, and now we are 84 bed spaces. So that's how the story started on that end. So I was the first person to come in, and I'm born and brought up in India, so I'm faintest idea about what benefits are, or
Yeah.
important national insurances. So I've never even heard of housing benefits and things like that. So the whole thing is like really, really new to me, and just kind of working all of this out. So then Peter's great at networking and making these links. So he had gone somewhere and said, "Oh, there is this trust called the Deepall Trust, and they work with the people who are coming out of prison and probation, and they help these people. So what about giving them 1 bed space in our 9 bed?" Oh, so sounded like a wonderful idea. So I said yes, and there came this guy who was about 6'4" and I'm sure it was like 18 stones or something like that, massive. And I was just today, this is talking about 25 years ago, and this little thing's standing here, and he had no intention of listening to anything I said. And he just turned out to be a terror in the house, and we were too scared because to say anything, because both of his physical this thing and aggression with which he goes around. So someone was in the toilet next to his bedroom, and he got so angry that he punched the toilet, and the hand went through and there was a hole in it. So I had to buy a new toilet door to fix it. So we are all terrified of this guy. And then he thinks that he should only engage with the Deepall Trust. And then his social worker is like, he's got so many things, and he's well versed in all of this, and he thinks of me as a nuisance. Like, you agreed to give him a space, so just get on with it. This is attitude. So no way of talking to him either. And then one Saturday, someone from the hostel rings me up and says, "Oh, this guy is got a car outside, and he's taken the TV from the lounge, and the microwave from the kitchen, the kettle and toaster, and he's taking plates and cooking pots and everything, packing into his car and going. What shall we do?" I said, "Don't do anything. Let him take everything and go." And next day I was so happy because he was literally gone. Doesn't matter, all of it was gone. I was like, I can replace all of it. I literally used to tell you, I used to stand in front of the mirror and say that I can look quite scary and deal with this guy and psych myself before I come to meet this guy. So we are all so relieved that he left. 2 years later, there was this knock on this door, and I opened the door, and there he is. And I was like, now what? So he's got a cake, and he's come to say thank you 2 years later. And he said, if you had reported me that I had taken all these things, I would have gone back into prison. But I didn't. So when he was here, we had got him a job in the construction industry. It was one of the new contracts that I'd made, and because of his physique and all that, he got the job quickly. So he's a supervisor in the same place now. Got a girlfriend, and he's got a baby. So he came to show his girlfriend and this child. I've not seen him afterwards, but some of the things that you feel that went totally wrong can also be turned around. So what I was saying was, I thought this was the scariest client that I had.
Yes.
Also showed me that although in my interaction with someone that I feel that this is a total failure, and I am a total failure myself, that because of my sheer inability to stand my ground and deal with or even maintain the basics, like he literally went off with the entire house, that something positive can come out of such a situation. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
That is something I tell my clients. Even though you feel like it was a hopeless case, you have no idea what seed you've planted in that place with kindness.
It is, and it is an amazing story because of the fact that you just the action in the sense of not taking any action in some ways and just, okay, we go with it, we learn from it, whatever, from ourselves. But the fact that then he had the
I didn't take anyone more from
yeah.
default trust after that. I was too terrified.
No, I'm not. Yeah. I don't blame you for that. Can't keep doing that every 6 months because it might not come back. But incredible that he came back to you. That is really incredible that he whatever changed in himself, that he had the humility to come back and go with that. It's an incredible story. Yeah,
and it
incredible.
did a lot for me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure it did.
It did a lot for me. And you asked me the reason why I've said it. You can say it's one of those reasons I've said.
Yeah.
Does it mean that even where I can't see a result, maybe there is a result?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. And then this is another story. This is from last August. Last August, we were having a meltdown in the office because something else or the other was going wrong here. So one of the residents came back and said, there is a woman with 2 children standing outside. So I said, what is this about? And they said, she's not leaving if she doesn't see me. And I was like, all right, then let them come in. And then my face lifted up and the spirit lifted when I saw this girl, because they had left us maybe 10 to 12 years ago. Wow. And so one of my staff knew this woman and had told me about her, that her husband had literally hit her on the head with an iron, and she had 2 kids. So literally we went there and took her from the house and brought her and put them in our hostel, and had worked with them since. So she had 2 kids. The eldest was a girl, maybe 4 coming to 5, and the other one was literally 1.5, still sucking his thumb, little one like that. And the girl was so traumatized. She was, when you say a beautiful child, she looked like a pink rose that was about to open. She had this beautiful complexion and thick black hair and this beautiful eyes. She was one of those beautiful children I'd seen. But she had stopped talking because of the amount of trauma that she has been watching. So with the help of some contacts, we managed to get the child in a counseling, and free counseling. And then the free counselor then said, let me have the mum as well, because if I don't do all of them, it's not going to get anywhere. So they stayed with us, I think 3 or 4 years before their status got resolved. And after a year, she started talking and more became normal. And the mother really had issues with the baby because the child looked very like the husband, who was, and so it was complicated.
Yeah,
it really was complicated for everyone. And I only understood it when she showed me the picture, and she said, I struggle. The mom was saying that I struggle. And then with the council, she got over it, and the bonds were restored, and it's an amazing story. And they left, and I had not thought about it. The child had passed her A levels. Wow. And she's got into psychology in a London university. And they gave me some flowers and some chocolates for me, because the child said, I want to see Christina Auntie. I used to carry her around the place. And isn't that amazing?
It's incredible. That is,
isn't that? And the mom is trained as a nurse now, so she has a job. So she has her own. She said she had, after she left here, she had to change houses 36 times, but now she's got her own flat. The little boy is doing his GCSEs. And isn't that an amazing story? If they didn't come back, I wouldn't know. No, but it was good that we were having a meltdown in the office, and they came and said this, and then others, the newer staff, could also see that. So those kind of stuff does wonders for us to keep pushing. Yeah.
Well, that's it, because we opened the chat and the conversation when at the very beginning you said it was about hope as one of the things, the reasons why you do what you do, and sometimes it's only if they come back that you'll find out what happened or not. But it's because it's a very much the long game in sense of what you're doing. So I'm sure when that was incredible, not that they're just okay, but thriving in a sense of not just the surviving, the thriving, that she's going to university, that she's going into that, and that the mom
that
has the job.
kindles my hope. That makes
100%.
my
Yeah.
hope grows stronger, because I'm constantly trying to put it into someone else.
Absolutely.
So if I'm giving all the time, I'm at one point of time going to run out of
Need it back. Yeah.
Yes. So these are the things that
refill
makes
you.
me makes
100%.
me have more of it to say, well, if this worked with this person,
Yeah.
maybe
absolutely.
this will work with. And unless you try, you never know. And there are, of course,
Absolutely.
people, I'm sure, that you don't succeed with.
Sure.
But isn't that the case with everything?
Absolutely. Well, it's you never know. You never know the outcome. You can only do the work you can do, and in sense of, and is the word you used earlier as well, I think, which is really important, is trying to enable people. It's you can only do so much, and then it's for each of these individuals that you work with, for them to then take on whatever support and you've given them to live their lives in the best way that they can. So, I mean, incredible stories.
That enabling, and I tell my support staff, do not do things for other people. Do not register them online. Make sure they register. Sit with them. They need to see the process. They need to understand the process. 100%. They need to have some value for it. If you register something for someone and put it on the table for someone, I've learned it by the hard reality of life. You can spend hours, because see, we can all be in this rescuer mode, that if I do all these nice things for this person that I care for so much, life is somehow going to be better for that person. And I've realized the hard truth: it does not work like that. No. You shouldn't be the persecutor. You shouldn't be the rescuer. You need to be a friend. You need to be a person who sees them and enables them.
100%.
Yeah, it's no good being the persecutor. They're fleeing persecutors, and they don't need rescuers. They need the skill to rescue themselves.
100%. Absolutely fabulous. I ask my guests when they come on, I always like to ask this question about quotes or phrases, because I sometimes find them can be quite important or powerful. Any quotes or phrases that are important to you?
This whole thing is based on Christian principles for me. So the concept of the servant king. King is supposed to be the great and mighty who everybody obeys. So, but Christianity, you've got the concept of the servant king. So if you want to be the leader, you submit. And then we are in an age where people no longer believe in God, whether you can't either prove or disprove there is a God. It's a matter of belief that you believe, and you have all these religions fighting with each other, saying ours is the best and ours is whatever. But for me, it doesn't matter whether you believe or you don't believe. And instead of being in arguments about that, what is your take on, are you humble enough to feed someone who's hungry when you notice that? Have you clothed someone who's naked? Have you stood up for the rights of someone whose rights are trampled? So instead of arguing about scientifically does God exist and whatever, but anyway, Christianity is the one who's posed these questions to me. So in that sense, it's important for me. I don't care whether you're Muslim or you're Jew or you're Hindu or whatever, and I am not interested in an argument about which is the true religion. Every religion has these things. But can you compete with each other on these things?
Yeah. In the humanity of it.
Humanity. And then another story that really fascinates, again, it's a Christian story. Do you know whether you know the story of the talents? Do you know the story of the talents?
No, I might. Go ahead.
This is just a parable. Okay, so God gives one talent to someone, 2 to someone else, and 5 to someone else, and says, go and do something with it. The person who's got 1 decides, well, what if I lose it? And he goes and hides it and says, when he asks for me back, I'll give it to him. The person who had 2 went and used the 2 and came up with 4. Person who had 5 went up with 5 and came up with, I don't know, 10 and something more. So God, when he called them back, they said, what did you do with what I gave you? And the first person said, oh, because I was so scared of you, I went and hid it. And the others used it with it. And so God gave them more. So it doesn't matter how little you have.
Yeah.
What can you do with the little you have? It's like playing the
Yeah.
best game you have with a deck of cards. Don't be
Yeah.
worried about how bad your deck is. Don't waste time thinking about how good the other person's deck is. The deck of cards that you have is the deck of cards that you have. So why don't you try and play the best game with it? No, that concept. That is again a Christian concept that is gone. So we're not sitting here mourning about what we don't have. We're always focusing on what is it that you have. What can you do with what you have?
Love
And
that.
and that is a good thought for the people you have. Oh, I don't have this. I don't have this. I don't have this. I don't have. But what do you have?
Yeah.
Why don't you
No,
look at what you
absolutely.
have? Yeah.
Love it. No, I love them. Absolutely love them. Who do you think have been the biggest influences for yourself, Christina?
I think it is my dad. So he, I think, is really an amazing personality, and so he's very, very smart. So he may be slightly on the autistic spectrum with being too intelligent, because there's some things that he's totally give you a blank on, because unless someone cries, he doesn't understand he's upset that person, and he probably like, why have I upset you kind of look. But he was a Rhodes Scholar, and so he was from Balliol here, and then he decided that he needs to go back to India, and he needs to do something about what was happening there, because he felt he was overtly more blessed both with intelligence and education, and he also came from a very affluent family. So what he did was, in that time in India, in Kerala, the state that we come from, women were required to work at home, sit at home, and do house chores. Very few people were into education, and then husbands usually went out to work, and then it was, for the poor people, it was weekly wages, and then most likely they will drink on a Friday and come back and beat their wives, and then the children were hungry, whatever. So he decided, he's probably the first person to can pickles and spices, the stuff that you see on the shelves as norm and we accept as norm. He was the first person to do that. So he had a job in metal box at the time, and he was working with cans and sealing bottles and things like that. And his mom was a great cook, so he canned pickles and bottled pickles. And then, because he had spent a considerable amount of time in the West, he brought in the concepts of squashes and jams to the local area. So what is interesting about food is every woman knows how to cook. Chop onions, chop this like. So he opened factories where the majority were women and who could do things, and they all were competing with each other in cooking, and you had the jams and the squashes and the pickles come up as first, and then the concept of powdered spices, because before all of that you ground everything in your hand, ground everything. So the concept that women will soon break out of being at home and will start employment, and then they need spices, a quick fix to get curries made. And you also would probably know that in Kerala, people have a huge expatriate community, both in the Middle East and in America at that time, and now it's happening in Europe as well. So it's a concept of home away from home. So he had a huge market for it. So he was the first person to start this. But then his focus on the well-being of his workers. So come the time of the school year starting, there will be loads of books and slippers and umbrellas and uniforms and everything, give it out to everyone. So he absolutely transformed an area. The number of engineers, nurses, and doctors of the children that has come out of, at his height, he had about 500 people working for him. He's absolutely transformed that area. But still, I came here, I hadn't made that connection. If you if you see that is the case. And then I also have an uncle. I don't know. He's called Amul Kurian and the White Revolution of India, where he brought the concept of cooperatives and the women in the villages having one cow or two cows, and then collating all the milk and then selling it through that concept of it. And then women in the north especially are very uneducated, so they want to get the cows and the bulls to mate. So the concept of contraception and things he fed through to the women as well, so you're not having a child year after year. So I was very fortunate to have that uncle as well as models. And then I was here very, very fortunate to have stumbled across Peter Watherston, who's very much a father away from home.
Yeah.
And he will introduce me as his adopted daughter. And I had a difficult time when I was here, and he didn't treat me as an employee. He loved me and made it possible for me to work and look after my kids. So yes, my
Wonderful.
father and Peter utmost, and then with my uncle, I saw the scale of what can be achieved.
Yeah.
My father's confined to Kerala because he was not a national person, but confined. Whereas my uncle was, he's had a huge whole India-wide wide impact. But and then to come across Peter, who I just felt like I was being with my dad and experimenting with things, and how can we do this, and what if we fail? Let's get and his wife Hannah was also very much and they were a couple, and they are together, and without them I don't think I would be in this field or be doing what I'm doing. I studied physics, so I may have ended up doing something in physics, because that was the dream when I started.
That's amazing. But I think and is it it is incredible in the sense of the stories you just shared there about your father and that, because you have to excuse my ignorance in some ways in that, or my assumptions, but what you were talking about there, the women in where you were from, in the sense of the fact that they weren't educated, and the expectation or the culture was that they would be at home. The fact that you went into physics, so that was obviously from yourself. That was never, as a growing up as a young girl and a woman, that you had those opportunities to get into education, to believe that you could do anything.
I'm also very
and then he's gone
blessed with having an aunt. If you look her up, Mrs. Mary Roy is my father's sister. So she's the first one who fought for the rights of Syrian Christian women, and because men had the rights, they inherited titles, they inherited land, and the women didn't inherit that. So she fought, and she got equal rights for men and women in India. So I do come from a from a family of giants or titans. So I am a very tiny fly in the greater scheme of what my aunt and my father and my uncles have achieved.
Sure.
So,
but I think I appreciate what you're saying, but from just this chat here, and I'm very much in awe of what you do yourself, Christina. I think for the length of time that you've been doing what you're doing, the sort of the what you've done over the years, even just learning this little bit, it's hugely inspiring, and it's been wonderful to hear what you've done and hear what you do, and genuinely the impact you're making on lives. And I think it goes back to the very start of it. Is like, even if it's just on a small number of people, that what you've obviously done over the years, and from the few couple of stories you've shared of the impact you've had on those people is hugely inspiring and wonderful to hear. And I've really enjoyed listening to it. I do have one last question for you. Go ahead. Go on. What are you? Go on.
No. I'm just saying that it's quite humbling to hear things like that. So.
Yeah. No. Well, I think you, because obviously we got introduced by a sort of a mutual acquaintance and your friend, lady Barbara, who I've interviewed before, and I kind of done some
Yeah.
stuff with, and she introduced us. And as I say, from the people who hopefully listening and watching the show, it's a very different sort of interview that I would normally have. It's someone who's else kind of in the coaching world. So it's wonderful to hear from someone else and what you do, because but so much of it, and the word that we've used a few times, and the whole word of enabling, it's very much in the same way, in the sense of what I'm trying to do, or the people I do as a coach. You're not trying to tell them anything.
Mm.
The whole thing of the world of coaching is, I'm not going to do it for you. You know the answers, but I'm just going to poke and prod and ask questions and do it in a way that gets you to do it. I'm in the same way trying to empower
Exactly.
people to do it. But it's because in the end, I find that people, the people who are going to make the impact, they don't necessarily want help. They want to be helped how to do it. They want to be enabled it's like, don't just do it for me, show me or help me or push me or prod me. So I think, but you're just doing it in a different way. And I think it's been wonderful to hear what you've done and what you continue to do.
And when you make a mistake, to come on, it happens.
And
Get
go
back
again.
on. Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That is
And
very, very key, because nobody's going
100%.
to get anywhere without making
the failures completely. And understanding and I think what's interesting from what the people that you spoke about, the things you talked about, the interesting thing is humans, in my experience, we're more alike than we think that we're different. And all the experiences, the people that you've probably gone through, in sense of there's a practical element of they may not know how to do things, but the element of sense of a lot of people is their confidence level, their self-belief, their the fact that they've been their experiences have made them believe a certain thing. They're not good enough. Then comparing it, the talent sort of parable, comparing it to the person over here, comparing it to the person over there. They're human experiences that we all go through, whether you're in the situation of the people that you're working with in the houses, or I'm dealing with the same people who have got, in theory, everything. Do you know what I mean? And it still comes down to those human experiences are still the same. So you're still trying to help people to realize what they actually have, what they're able to do, and still move them forward, or enable them to move forward.
I often say who we are is a sum total of all the things that ever happened to us.
100%.
So if we are then, so you have a choice there. So we are the sum total of all the things that have happened to us. Yeah. We have a choice of, if it is bad things that happen to us, to be hopeless and say, what's the point? And give up. Or you can say, all these have happened to us. I've learned a whole lot of things from it. So I'm going to do things differently.
Yeah. 100%. No, love it. Love it. Yeah. My final question for you, Christina, is what's important for your future?
That's, as I said, I hadn't thought about it, but I think what it is I have literally given all my working life to this project, and it's not yet at a place where it will survive without me. It is here because it was there because Peter was there for a long time, and then he left, and so since 2012 it is here because I am here. So I think my task is to make sure that it'll be here when I'm not here.
Yeah.
So what does that take? So I've got a list of all the things that that needs to happen for it to continue with someone who believes in the cause but doesn't have to work the sheer number of hours that I have to work, and doesn't have to create resources from scratch. Like when we started, all the projects were rented properties. Now out of the 10, 7 we own now. So working towards that. And then in the charity sector, it's very hard to get someone. It's almost like people who enter the charity world. Again, there are people like Peter, who was a merchant banker and merchant banker, and also a fully qualified chartered accountant, to leave what he wanted and do. So there is a proportion of that, but there is also a proportion of people feel like, if I can't get a job anywhere else, that's when you get a job in the charity sector. So about them also, it's like I wanted to do something else, but this is the only thing that came up. I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I want to change that. So
Yep.
I am have good wage levels, have good offices, not the oldest computer that is falling apart and whatever,
Yeah.
but have a good standard and attract people, youngsters. They are the future. To say that this is an area I'm proud to work with. Youngsters, extract people, and to make them believe that, hey, I can actually earn a good living, look after myself, and at the same time, I can make this world a better place for someone else. I think those are the things that I want to focus for the future. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. As I say, Christina, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you, and I really
Thank
do
you very
thank you
much.
for sharing your time with me. I want to make sure people know and everything and about your charity. Can you just call out the charities that or the houses on and where they are online, or if people
They're
wanted to?
all in Newham. We don't tell them where they are because we don't
Yeah,
want the
of
house
course.
associated with.
No,
So our charity is called Just Homes. So if you
Just
go up
Homes.
on the website, you can see
Yep.
a little bit about the
Yeah.
charity, and then my website. I'm really bad on advertisements, so I can't say that it's the
Don't worry.
most magnificent website,
No.
but it does transmit the meeting. But there are a lot of testimonials up there. I'm
Yeah.
making an effort to put that up there. It also gives the conditions of residence and kind of
Yeah.
what we do, and
Yeah.
a little bit about our
Absolutely.
staff and things like that. Yeah.
Lovely. No, if people want to have a look about more, you do. No, I will make sure we have that link to the website and the notes as well. Once again, Christina, thank you so much for chatting to
Thank you
me.
very much for having me. I too enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Not often you get asked questions like this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to What's Important to You. If you enjoyed this episode, follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if it resonated, share it with someone who might need it too. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment or ask a question, and let's keep the conversation going. I'm James Dean, and I'll be back soon with another real conversation to help you reconnect with what truly matters. Until then, take care and stay curious.